Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining us. I'm Lolo, and this is Divine Safe Space. Today's pick a card topic is going to be an end of the year release portal. So no matter if you're watching this in 2025 or 2032, this will resonate for you on what you will be releasing and what you will be coming into in the next year. Before we get into the guideline for today's reading, I do just want to say thank you so much to everyone who likes, comments, subscribes, shares, and hypes these readings up. And I also really appreciate the donations and anyone who books personal readings with me, because I really enjoy what I do, and this is my passion. So thank you so much for contributing to this. It really means a lot to me. So let's get into the guideline for what we will be looking into in this reading. The first theme we will be looking at is the past self theme. So basically who you have been in the past year. The third theme is the weight you're shedding. So what no longer aligns in your life, what you will be releasing in this portal. The third topic is lesson learned. So the wisdom that you have gained throughout the past year and what you will be taking with you into this new chapter. And lastly, we will be seeing the emerging self, who you are becoming in this new chapter in your life. So that is what we will be covering in every single group. Let's get into our pile selections. And actually, before we get in, I do just want to say that I might be switching things up a little bit from now on and actually showing my face for pick a cards again, as I try the other format of just showing the cards, and it's not the same. I know it's not the same, and I know that I don't have the same impact when I'm not on screen than when I am. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's get into the pile selections. Pile number one's card is Prosperity Lies Ahead, New Moon in Taurus. Pile number two's card is The End of a Tough Cycle Approaches, Full Moon in Capricorn. If it wants to focus. And the third pile is Don't Let Your Past Hold You Back, South Node. Okay, and let me hold all these cards up so you can choose your pile. Again, this is 1, 2, and this will be 3. Here's your pile selection. Take your time. Pause it if you need. And I will see you in your piles. Hello lovelies, if you selected Prosperity Lies Ahead, New Moon in Taurus, then this is your reading, pile number ones. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into your cards. We have pre-selected cards. I will clarify it out with tarot if I need, and then we'll of course have closing messages. If you want to see the guideline for today's reading, please go back to the timestamp. It is in the description and it is right before the pile selection. So for your past self theme and who you've been this past year, we have the 9 of Cups, we have the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron, which is the third eye. For the weight you're shedding, we have the Page of Wands. Gratitude. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. Is clarifying that. Then the lesson learned and the wisdom you gained. We have 2 tarot cards. We have the 3 of Wands and White Newman in reverse. I actually didn't take doubles for any other group. Yours was the only group that had double tarot. Clarifying that, Judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Ooh, that's pretty. And lastly, we have Emerging Self, who you are becoming this chapter. We have the 5 of Cups. And Strategy. Let's get into this energy, pile number 1. So your past self theme and who you've been this past year. With the Nine of Cups and the 6th chakra Archangel Metatron, I'm getting that you have really been standing on business more than usual. You have not been backing down. You've not allowed people to guilt you into doing things or shame you into doing things anymore. You have been saying no, 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 baby, no. And honestly, it's been serving you well. I feel like you've really realized how much better you are how much better you are than certain circumstances, like toxic relationships, toxic jobs, toxic habits. You're like, I'm too good for this. What am I even doing here? Why am I in the wrong place right now? This is not where I'm meant to be. I feel like you have stopped yourself from being in the wrong places, in the wrong spaces, simply by having better boundaries, simply realizing, I don't think this is worth my time. I don't think that this is worth my effort. I don't think I should be there, right? I feel like you have become more clear about what you want out of your life, the vision that you have, and really knowing that there are unlimited possibilities for you. I kind of feel like you might have been limiting yourself in the past, thinking, oh, I could never do that. I could never have that. I could never get that. And now you're like, yes, I can and I will. No matter what you think, I can and I will. And I live for that. Honestly, I feel like you're realizing, hey, this is where my future could go. This is really like where my success is leading me, rather than being like, oh, I'll never get that. I'm just jealous of all the people who have what I have. You realize, no, I can and I will. Literally, I can and I will is what's repeating in my head. There's also this little cross over the Nine of Cups heart. So I feel like it's like you have been really tuned into your heart and into what feels right for you. If the invitation doesn't feel right for you, then it's a no. And you're okay with that. You're not going to sit there and think that you're obligated to have to go to things that you don't feel like going to. This is your life. You have free will. And obviously, we want to show up for our loved ones, but it's also more important to show up for yourself. If you feel sick and you feel like you can't get through something, then you probably should rest. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is giving me, is prioritizing your well-being over, the dramatics, or over people trying to shame you into doing things again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like maybe in the past you had an issue with saying no, from being like a recovering people pleaser. But now I feel like no is your favorite word, pile number one. Yes, let's get into it. The next energy that we're tapping into is the weight you're shedding and what no longer aligns. We have the Page of Wands and gratitude. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. I'm getting the weight of expectation is what no longer aligns. I feel like maybe people put expectations onto you about the way that you should live, the way that you should approach things, the way that you should spend your energy, the way that you should show up in the world. And I don't think you're having it anymore. I feel like you want to be the free-spirited energy. You want to be eccentric. You want to be unpredictable. And I feel like you're done watering yourself down, because you realize how thankful you are for this life, and living in that gratitude and being your true authentic self is the best way to celebrate life, to celebrate the privilege of showing up and being alive every single day, right? So I feel like this opening in your heart chakra, your third eye, and your crown chakra is really allowing you to align with your inner child and the person that you were before you were impacted by life or adulthood, so to speak. I feel like you're done hiding your fiery nature. You're done hiding the spontaneity that you crave in your life. This is like the energy of someone who might have gotten, like, this is just an example, like an office job, right? And then you realize, this is not me. I don't belong in an office. I belong doing blah, 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 blah. I belong traveling the world, doing this kind of work or doing this missionary work or whatever it is. I feel like you're just realizing that your limits are way farther than where you have been. And you're going to be stepping into new experiences, new ways of being, new approaches, whether this is in work or in life in general. But like, with prosperity lies ahead is your overall energy, and it's a new moon. Like, this is a new start, a new beginning of really getting after what it is that you want and being more stubborn, because Taurus is very stubborn. I'm a Taurus. I'm very stubborn, and I know it. You know what I'm saying? But like, stubbornness is not a bad thing when it comes to protecting yourself and standing up for what feels right for you. Because if you're not going to advocate for what feels right for you, then who's going to advocate for you? You know what I'm saying? I keep saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's something that maybe you have done or you're letting go of, is like not being sure or certain of how people are going to receive you, and realizing that collective acceptance is impossible, and not everyone's going to like you, not everyone's going to get along with you, and not everyone's going to accept you, and that's okay as long as you accept yourself. And I feel like you're really accepting yourself and being this eccentric energy, because this clothing is giving me a little bit of wild energy. Like, look at those patterns. Like, I feel like you're really coming into your style. Like, maybe this recent style that you were in is no longer serving you, and you're going to be switching it up and having more patterns in your clothing or something like that, where you're just kind of changing up this persona and going into this new chapter and accepting this new version of you. Okay. Next, we have the lesson learned and the wisdom that you gained over the past year with the White Newman in reverse, and the Three of Wands. Judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Yeah, I feel like you've kind of stopped judging yourself and judging others. Maybe you've stopped comparing yourself to other people, and you stopped like comparing your journeys to other people and feeling like, oh, I'm so behind, blah, 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 blah. And knowing that sometimes you start behind, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you deserve to be judged or ashamed for whatever position you're in. There were people who didn't deal with childhood trauma. So of course the people who had childhood trauma are going to have to cope with bigger struggles. And I'm not saying that they always have bigger struggles, but that's a big obstacle to overcome before being on, you know, the same level, if that makes sense. So I feel like you're stopping the judgment while also giving yourself grace and mercy for where you are, and knowing that you are never stuck. And just because you made a mistake or you stuck around in an area for too long does not mean that you can't turn it around. Does not mean that your path or your door is no longer open for you. You know what I'm saying? I can't stop saying, you know what I'm saying, in this damn reading. You know what I'm saying. I can't. But yeah, this Three of Wands is giving me, like, you are open and receptive to the universe. You know that there's always better, especially when you're in a negative situation. There's this saying, when you're in hell, or when you're walking through hell, why would you stop? You know, the only way to get through hell is to walk through it, to go straight through it. And I feel like that's what you're doing, is you're really being open and receptive, and you're not shutting yourself out from, you know, positive experiences, and you're never giving up. You know that the struggle is part of the journey, and there's a reason why things happen. I'm not saying that everything is justified, but there are lessons to be learned, and I feel like you are really accepting the lessons, and you're also accepting where things are not working, and realizing that sometimes you just need to give up. Sometimes, 11:11 on the timer, you just need to let go of people who are stuck where you found them. Sometimes you have to give up on the job that's not going anywhere. Sometimes you need to give up on rebuilding connections that you never broke. I feel like you're really being selective with what gets your time and energy, and where your focus is, where your vision is. You're not allowing anyone to shut you off from your vision of a better future, of a better place, of, you know, a better essence, so to speak. I also feel like this is you not accepting other people's judgment. Yeah, I already talked about that. I talked about how other people's expectations on you, how you might be letting go of that. So maybe you're now stronger to stand up against any judgment that comes your way, or shame or guilt or anything like that. This is also third eye energy. So there is a lot of third eye energy here, of just opening yourself up to the possibilities for you, the visions, and knowing that the physical reality isn't all that there is. What you see is not all that you get, and things can be in the works behind the scenes without you even knowing. All your efforts could be adding up behind the scenes, but you don't see it. You know, you're planting all these seeds, you're watering it, but you can't always see the growth underneath the soil, right? And so I feel like you are really being patient and trusting in spirit and trusting in yourself from now on, and not shutting yourself out from the possibilities for you just because maybe you had a bad start, or maybe because you have a rough past, or maybe because you've made a lot of mistakes, or maybe because you weren't the kind of person that you thought deserved a good future, you know? And then now you realize, I am worthy, I am pure, I am deserving of this. And 13:13 on the timer, and I'm not going to self-sabotage. I'm not going to be my limit. If my limit is blah, 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 then that's my limit. But I'm not going to limit myself anymore, is what pile number 1 is saying and integrating at this time. The fourth energy we will be talking about is the emerging self, who you are becoming in this chapter, with the 5 of Cups and strategy. This strategy card has a feather. I see a pentagram. I also am seeing runes, a compass, and it says journal log. And there's also a key. The person that you are becoming is someone who is able to grieve, release, and accept disappointments, while also being able to move on from it and not get stuck on it. 1414 on a timer. Maybe in the past you were kind of stuck on things and then you just stuck around in the situation because you were just maybe in like, fight, flight, or freeze. I feel like maybe you used to freeze, but now it's like you are being more proactive and you will say sayonara if you have to. Without any shame, you're going to be saying, sayonara, I'm sorry, this no longer serves me. I wish you the best, but this is not right for me. And that's that, I feel like you're really going to be strategizing more. You're going to be journaling. I feel like journaling could be very beneficial for you. And it's going to help you process these emotions, process the loss, the disappointment, and everything like that. I feel like just kind of unloading after your day through a journal or like typing it on your phone or even on your laptop or computer, that could be very beneficial for you. I feel like you're going to be less resistant to make changes, even if it comes with loss, even if it comes with sadness or disappointment. You're just going to be like, I know that there are hard decisions to be made and I'm willing to make those to get to where I want to be or to protect myself or to be who I've always been destined to be. I feel like you're going to be getting more comfortable with the emotional sides of things and with, low emotions. Maybe you're going to be able to cope with depression easily or grief. But I feel like you're going to be learning in this next chapter of your life or next year, you're going to be learning just how to let go and surrender and flow with your emotions. And even if you have intense emotions, that's okay. And that's valid. And I just feel like you're going to be in a very good place where you're going to release all this muck and welcome in all this prosperity that is on its way to you. So if this is resonating, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading up. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. So I think I want to get one overall tarot card for the energy of your upcoming year that's coming. What is pile number one's overall energy in this upcoming year, in this upcoming chapter? The Two of Wands. Yes, you're going to be making tough decisions like I was talking about. Choosing what path you want to go down. Do you want to go down the higher path or do you want to continue to go down the path that you've been on? Do you want to keep getting the short end of the stick or do you want to make the most of your reality? Do you want to be who you've always dreamt of? With the snake, it's giving shedding skin. So I feel like you're going to be shedding who you have been and you're going to be becoming a completely new version of you. Like people aren't going to recognize you anymore. People are going to be amazed at your transformation, your level up, your glow up. Bottom of the deck, the King of Pentacles. Yeah, this could have to do with finances, going down a different financial path or a career path and realizing, I can do better, I can apply myself more, and I can reach my fullest potential elsewhere. But yeah, with this prosperity lies ahead card, new moon in Taurus, it's really giving a new beginning in finances, in ambition, and like motivation, being motivated. Taurus is also known for, enjoying luxurious items, comfort items. So I feel like you're really going to be focusing on comfort, whether that's decorating your home or just making sure that your home life is as beneficial and prosperous as your career is. So let's get into your closing messages, and that will be the end of your reading, pile number ones. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to be getting some Sacred Rebels Oracle energy, and I'm going to read it out of the book because it's just so divine. So what is the closing message for pile number one in this 2025 release portal? Again, this is timeless, so don't worry about the times when I do say 2025. We have shock of the new. And this is exactly what I was talking about. People are going to be shocked. You're going to be shocked with who you are, the new beginnings and everything you're opening yourself up to and all the possibilities and the visions and everything. But people are also going to be very, very shocked by who you are, who you become, your style, your essence, your aura, your energy. Like maybe you were down and out before, people thought you were done with, but no. I feel like this is like a resurrection. Okay. Here we are. What wild, unconventional voice is calling to you? Can you hear it? It is so different and so unusual, it might be hard to decipher, like hearing an unfamiliar language for the first time. It might be hard to discern with great clarity now, but there is an affinity between you and the strangely beautiful newness seeking to manifest. This oracle says there is a stirring at the deepest level within you. Something new will break through, and the process of this birth may be a shock to you. The shock will transform into great joy and a sense of tremendous liberation, but you must bear the strangeness first. That strangeness might be something that rattles your beliefs about yourself and your world, daring you to become more of yourself, more open to where life is leading you, and more willing to be the unique sacred art being crafted by the hand of the universal creator. Nature never shies away from strange beauty. She allows for endless diversity, and her sacred works are often peculiar and stunning. I've been telling you about eccentricity. You live within her field of creative grace as a specially created work that also creates. You're being asked to surrender any fear you may have of being seen as exotic, unusual, eccentric, we talked about this, or bizarre. You're being asked to make peace with strange beauty and to let it happen through you in creative flow. Perhaps you need to allow your conventional ideas of beauty to become even more inspired and open. Perhaps you can allow your need for the world to behave according to your fixed ideas to fall away. You will receive so much more in its place. This oracle comes with a special message for you. There are rumblings and stirrings of the creative life force happening now, deep in the undercurrent of your being. If you are very attuned or sensitive, you may have consciously felt this already, with excitement, discomfort, or both. If you have yet sensed these inner stirrings, they are happening all the same. So be on the lookout for the big shift of new birth, the shock of the new, the unconventional, the strangely beautiful, and the disturbing liberation of that which is foreign stepping into your life. This is life creating the stage upon which you will experience greater fulfillment. Don't be nervous if the rumble of change turns into a mighty roar that rocks boats, bursts forth as novel ideas, and changes in a way that is out of your control. This life is happening. Free fall into it. The oracle of the shock of the new comes to you saying, the old way is on its way out. You are being invited, dragged, nurtured, and coerced into the new. You can handle it. This oracle brings you guidance. You are about to encounter something new and different in your life. This is helpful. Don't reject it, no matter how small or insignificant or how powerful and life-changing it may seem to be. You are being asked to dispense your reliance on the past and would have been your tools to navigate life. You have outgrown your old methods. You will have to fly by the seat of your pants, so to speak, as you experiment with new ways to be. Life will show you the way. Wow. Wow. And this is literally everything we've been talking about. Sunflowers could be very significant for you, as well as the piano or music. Let's see. And then the healing process says, I am supported through the shock of the new. I accept the beauty in all that is foreign or strange to me, as I know it is bringing me new gifts, wisdom, life experiences, and creative inspiration through unconditional love. So be it. I'm going to show this. Hopefully I can get it to focus. The excerpt is right here. Okay, and that will be the end of your reading, pile number ones. Thank you so much for being here. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading up. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. And I will see you next time, my pile number ones. Hello, pile twos. If you selected the end of a tough cycle approaches, full moon in Capricorn, then this is your reading. Thank you so much for being here. Going to be setting this aside and referring to that throughout the reading. Let's get into your pre-selected cards. If you do want to know the guideline for today's reading, you can go back to the timestamp. It is right before the pile selection, and it's in the description if you need to. So let's get into this. Pile number 2, your past self theme is the Wheel of Fortune. She looks mighty. We have the Sun. The weight you're shedding is Death. And Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. Wow, that one's beautiful. The lessons learned this year for pile number 1 is the Moon. Clarifying that, we have Success. I know there's no greater goal than to love. Everybody say love. And then the last energy is the emerging self, who you are becoming in this next chapter and next year. We have the 8 of Pentacles. Pentacles. And we have Contract. Okay, so let's get into this. First and foremost, obviously Capricorn could be very significant for you, for your sun, moon, or rising, or any other placements. I do feel like there are major cycles that are closing out for you. And I feel like you have already been working on it here with the past self theme, who you've been this year, pile number 2. Did I call you pile number 1 earlier? I surely hope not. If I did, I apologize. But this year, you have been the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. I feel like you have been very stingy with the cycles that you're going through. You have become aware of the repetitive experiences that you've had, whether it's in relationships or in your career or just with habits. You know, I feel like you are so done with the way that things have been. I mean, just look at this Wheel of Fortune face. She looks like she is ready to cut them up. Mother, you know? I feel like you've had your defenses up this year, making sure that no one ruins, you know, your karma or ruins the energy that is surrounding you. So if that means that you need to distance yourself from karmic people, then that is what you've done. With the sun, I feel like you've really been focusing on what feels best for you, what fuels you, what is dependable for you. Like, let's say every week you take one bath, and that's just the thing that gives you so much energy for the week, is that singular bath. It seems stupid to other people, but to you, it's like a staple. You know what I'm saying? So it's things like that where you've really started integrating new habits in your life, new ways of being. This could be new eating habits. This could be like getting out there more often, getting some fresh air more often, and not being cooped up in your room. I feel like you've just been very adventurous this year, but within a means. You know, you're very much taking this cycle seriously, and you don't want to keep going through the same thing. You don't want to have to keep learning the same lessons or keep meeting the same exact person in different bodies. If you know, you know, 444 on the timer. And I feel like you're ready to protect yourself and protect your destiny. I feel like maybe in the past people tried to destiny swap with you or tried to like terrorize you and make it so your life was like a living hell. But you're not playing games anymore, because you know that you are destined for greatness. You know that abundance is your birthright simply because of who you are and because of your spirit. And you're not allowing anyone to dim that light for you. You're not allowing anyone to say, oh, you should be doing blah, 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 blah. You're like, no, this is what I'm doing because it feels good for me. And this is what fuels me for the week. This is what gives me the energy that I need. So if you have an issue with me doing what's beneficial for me, then maybe you should check that up with yourself. Period. Pile number 2, I feel like you've had an attitude this year. I'm hearing the song attitude, 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 attitude. I don't even know what that song is. I'll make sure it's linked down below. Let's write that down. Attitude, attitude, attitude. I genuinely feel like you might have been around like karmic people before who were kind of just like making your life super karmic, and then now that you've kind of released these people or distanced yourself, you realize how much happier you are, how much energy you have, how much you shine, like how much brighter you shine than when you are around like people like that. I feel like you have been finding your flow this year, finding what works best for you, finding what gives you results in whatever way this means for you. The next thing we're looking at is the weight that you're shedding, what no longer aligns. We have death and guilt. So I feel like that's clear as day. You're really releasing guilt. And this could even be, why am I getting... I'm getting religious guilt for some reason. So maybe you grew up super religious and very controlled, and you know, those beliefs that you were taught have made you feel shame for who you are or the way that you live now, just because you're not abiding by those strict whatever or man-made rules, so to speak. So I feel like you're letting that go and making your own rules and creating your own belief system and not being stuck on, you know, what everyone else believes or what your whole family believes. Like, you can be different, and that's okay. And you can stand up for what you believe in, and you can let go of the burdens of what no longer serves you, the weight of, you know, what people have said to you, of what you should be doing or whatever. I feel like you're going to be releasing a heavy load, especially with the end of a tough cycle approaches. I feel like this journey has been very tough for you, with it being a full moon. I mean, it's high energy, big change. And I think that you're going to feel so much lighter once you release this and once you get through this purge and the dark night of the soul. I feel like you might be going through a heavy time right now. I'm not going to lie, but it's all for your growth. And they do say that God gives his toughest warriors the tough battles, you know, and he would never give you, they would never give you something that you couldn't handle. And I feel like you're realizing that. But a lot of this releasing is going to be releasing what other people have said, or the shame that other people have said, like, oh, you should be doing what everyone else thinks that you should be doing, when that's not true at all. This guilt has impacted your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your third eye, and your crown chakra. So this guilt could have been impacting like your sense of safety or security or stability, or your sense of worth in having that security or being able to maintain that. I feel like it has impacted like your sense of self and who you truly think you are, just because it was so bogged down by other people's perceptions or other people's opinions, and you know, it's distorted. I also feel like it's been impacting the vision that you have for yourself or the words that you speak. Like maybe you constantly doubt yourself, maybe you have a stutter or you dealt with a stutter of some kind just because of like pressure, you know. I also said the crown chakra, so this could be closing you off from, you know, the visions that you have for yourself or where the possibilities could take you, because maybe, you know, your family wanted to keep you in a little box and you're not meant to fit in that box. And so I feel like you're really going to be releasing a lot, and it's going to be renewing you in so many ways. I feel like you're going to be letting go of frustrations, of, you know, angst and like constant anxiety. I feel like you might have been dealing with constant anxiety simply because of things that people have said to you, people that were trusted, and things that you believe that maybe aren't true for you. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into the next energy after I take a sip of water. I hope that this is resonating for you. Again, thank you so much for being here. Okay. The third energy we are looking at. We have the lesson learned, the wisdom you have gained with the moon and success. I know there is no greater goal than to love. I feel like you've learned to trust in the unknown, understanding that you don't need to know all the details, you don't need to have control of the circumstance, and that the universe has your back. And most of the time, the universe's magic works a lot better than our own. I feel like just because you couldn't see certain things in the past, it caused you to be closed off to certain experiences or certain beliefs. But this changing of perspective is ultimately what is coming together for you, realizing that two things can be true at the same time. Not everything is black and white. Not everything is wrong or right, you know? Success, I know there is no greater goal than to love. I feel like you realize that your frequency and vibration plays a major role in what succeeds in your life. I feel like you have been focusing on just being in your baseline energy, no matter what's happening around you, no matter the chaos, no matter how mean people are, no matter this, no matter that. You need to stay in your true essence. And I feel like that is what you're ultimately going to be integrating, is no matter how unknown things may seem, no matter how many secrets they may seem to be, no matter how dark it is, there's always going to be light. And sometimes you are that light in the dark place. I'm just going to look in the middle of the deck to see what this moon energy is. Yeah, the Knight of Swords. That clarity will come even in the darkest of times. And it's just up to whether you're going to open your eyes and stay calm, or whether you're going to panic and be in chaos and freeze up. You know, that's really the vibe that I'm getting here, is like you create your own reality and the way that you function throughout the world. So if you want to sit there and spiral, then sit there and spiral. But I feel like you realize that the most productive thing you can do is just slow down and really keep your eyes open to learn something new and see possibly what you have missed, because there is human error. We're all humans. None of us are perfect. None of us have all the solutions or all the answers. But it's important to open ourselves up to the possibility that the answers may just be right in front of us. You know, even when we're freaking out, it may just be right in front of us, right under our nose. And then we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have seen that. So the last energy we will be touching on with the pre-selected cards is emerging self, who you are becoming in this chapter of your life. We have the Eight of Pentacles and contract. I feel like you are going to be more committed than ever. You're going to be working diligently. I feel like you're going to be focusing a lot on your inner healing, your outer work, your hobbies and your passions. You're going to be diligently spending your time. You're going to be creating something. But I also see this as very much of like a healing thing, like being committed to yourself, committed to your craft, committed to your work, especially with the contract. There is a scale there, which is reminding me of justice. So I feel like your justice is coming. Everything that you deserve is coming, and all your efforts are truly going to be paying off, and you're going to see that. I feel like you're going to have a very busy year ahead next year. If you're watching it currently, then 2026, but it could be whatever next year is for you. That's going to bring a lot of work and a lot of energy to do said work, and a lot of motivation and perseverance. I feel like you're going to be ready to go. I feel like you're going to be very rooted in yourself and very grounded, and that's what's going to help you to stay steadfast in this journey. Capricorn does have to do, we're going back to your signifying card. Capricorn does have to do with like status or career, finances, things like that. So I definitely feel like this could be like a cycle in your finances specifically, or your career. It's giving very much career energy, like no longer holding yourself back and knowing that you have it, you are more than capable, and it's up to you to believe that and to reassure yourself of said thing. This could also be signing a new contract in work, like you'll be getting a new job. This could also be you could be becoming an entrepreneur, which requires, you know, a different tax bracket and a different tax form. So that would be a different kind of contract. This could also be you getting a contract with a certain company. Let's say if you're an influencer or you make content, it could be, you know, someone reaching out saying, hey, do you want to do a sponsorship with us? Yes, I would love to. It's like everything's going to be coming together little by little. The puzzle pieces are going to be put together and it's going to come together very beautifully. You could be reading more. You could be having like, you're going to be focusing your energy so much on either work, yourself, or what is flourishing for you that you're not going to have time for the nonsense. You're going to be letting go of the nonsense to make room for focusing on yourself and what is most important for you. 15:51 on the timer. I'm going to get one signifying card for the overall energy for this new chapter in your life, pile number 2, and then we will get the closing messages. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading up if it resonated. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. So let's get a signifying card. What is the overall energy for pile number 2's next chapter? The 5 of Wands. This 5 of Wands is specifically about an initiation. Like this high priestess needs to battle these people in order to join, right? So this is giving me like you're going to be picking your battles wisely, and you're going to know what battles you can win and what battles you might lose, and which battles you just need to gracefully step down from. I feel like you're not going to have the time to be arguing with strangers online or debating with some trolls. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're going to be using your discernment and making sure that, you know, certain people are good for you, certain places are good for you, certain habits. I feel like you're going to be investigating quite a lot and you're going to fight for what you want. I feel like, you know, even when obstacles come up, you're still going to keep persevering. Bottom of the deck, the 10 of Swords, yeah. But you're definitely closing out cycles of being, you know, the doormat or the person that people scapegoat or put down just because they can. Yeah, Ace of Wands, and I feel like there's going to be this new fresh energy and you're going to be lighting up. I feel like you're going to be lighting up a spark within other people and really just being an inspiration for people to never give up, even when it gets tough, even when you feel like there's no end and when you're just suffering. Never ever give up. So that's what this is giving me. Let's get your closing messages, pile number 2. Closing messages for pile number 2. And this will be the end of your reading. I'm going to read it out of the guidebook because it is so divine. What does pilot number 2 need to know about this new chapter in their life? Oh, there we go. We have defend to the end, the worthwhile. The owl is very much giving wisdom, intuition, ancient wisdom. And the bottom of the deck is receiving, which is what I was just talking about. You're going to be receiving stuff. Like everything's going to be paying off. Okay, here we are. Beneath the illusions, pretty as they may seem, you know what is real. Beneath the lies, sweet though they may sound, you know what is worthwhile. All that is genuinely and truly essential for the heart to throb with life is worthwhile. Anything that dulls it or suffocates its vibrant aliveness must be questioned, challenged, and more than likely cast aside, for the heart is our key to living an authentic life. What is there once there is compromised? Without its foundation of truth, we are to be forever lost in confusion, doubt, and despair. You are a sacred warrior, a defender of the heart. You have cried genuine tears of your own grief and also the grief of the world. You have raged at injustice and oppression in your own life and in the world. You have felt the need to protect the presence of love, for whilst it is exceptionally powerful, it can easily be smothered under lies and fear. The sacred warrior must not heed the dangerous voices that say, oh, stop being so sensitive. Stop making such a big deal out of things. Love is the biggest deal there is. What else is worth being so sensitive about? The sacred warrior is vigilant that the presence of love is not chipped away by fear, criticism, doubt, or untruths, which we've been talking about. Even if others find the unflinching honesty of your feelings difficult to handle, even if those feelings are expressed with gentleness and compassion, the sacred warrior honors the task of being more faithful to love than anything else. This includes the fear of loss. Actually, it includes the fear of anything at all. This oracle brings guidance to honor even the smallest steps in your path of the sacred warrior. They are no less important than the more noticeable or dramatic actions on the path, which I've been talking about. One single misstep can begin a landslide of great devastation. Being vigilant with what is meaningful and what is truthful, even in the smallest and seemingly most insignificant ways, strengthens the sacred warrior and prevents darkness from gaining a stronghold from inside. The darkness will be intelligent and sneaky. It will tell you that it doesn't matter, that this one time you can forget what you promised, that you are just one person and that you can't make a difference anyway. That darkness will lure you into sleepy ambivalence and dull your light if you allow it to. The sacred warrior within will fight with light, love, and honor to be true to what has meaning and never, ever allow it to be cast aside, even if it seems easier in the moment. The sacred warrior finds joy and humor in life to prevent the seriousness of the task from the stifling heart that just wants to live and be free. That joy brings strength to the warrior, an expanded, relaxed awareness that can sense the presence of fear, whether it be masked as anger, hate, or doubt, and immediately respond to it with fierce compassion. The sacred warrior will not allow fear to gain a stronghold within the heart. This oracle has special guidance for you. You're being asked to stay strong and stand your ground. This might be in a big emotional journey that feels like the fight of your life. It may be in a matter that doesn't seem to hold much importance. Perhaps, for an example, you are contemplating an idea that you feel could be something, but those around you declare nothing much, too impractical, too little, or too much. However, what is happening or soon will be happening is worthwhile. So hold on tight, ask for help through the healing process below. Stay true to the sacred warrior of love that you are and defend to the end that is worthwhile. Okay, this is the healing process that you say. I call upon the sacred warriors of unconditional love. I ask for your support, protection, assistance, and intervention on my behalf through unconditional love, that what is truly worthwhile for the light and life of the heart be protected and preserved within me and in the world for the greater good through my own free will, so be it. Repeat up to 3 times if you wish. And you can say it daily. I will point to the excerpt. It's right up here. Okay. But yeah, this is literally what I'm talking about. This is what you're going to be releasing is the guilt, the shame, the naysayers of people saying, oh, you shouldn't do that, you can't do that, oh, that's too much, you're too little, blah, 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 blah. No, you're no longer doing that. You're going to be shining your mother freaking light like you have been all year. You're going to be letting go of the baggage, letting go of other people's projections and other people's issues. That's a them problem. And then you're going to be making room for what's meant for you. Again, when I said this contract, I do believe that it might be a contract with yourself, a promise to yourself that you're going to continue to work on the project, work on the goal, work on the mission, all throughout next year. So again, contract with business, contract with like a sponsor, or it could be a contract with yourself, so to speak. So thank you so much for being here. The bottom of the deck, again, is receiving. So just be open to receiving, be receptive, and know that the universe is going to provide for every single one of your needs, especially when it comes to what you are defending to the end and what is truly worthwhile for yourself and others. So again, thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading up. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. And I will see you next time. Hello, Pile 3s. If you selected the Don't Let Your Past Hold You Back South Node card, and this is your reading, I shall set this down and we will be referring back to that throughout the reading. If you want to see the guideline for everything we're covering, please go back to the timestamp. I'll have it in the description as well as in the chapters. So let's get into this. Pile number 3, your past self theme and who you've been this past year is the Knight of Cups. We have man holding a heart, clarifying that. I'm hearing softening. You've been softening. Then the weight you're shedding and what no longer aligns. We have the 7 of Swords. Clarified by death. I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. For the lesson learned and the wisdom that you gained, we received Black Newman. Clarifying that, we have grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. That's double orange cards right here. Double orange. Orange and red are very significant for you. And lastly, emerging self, who you are becoming in this next chapter. We have strength. And we have caring connection. Caring connection. There we go. So let's get into this. I will pull tarot if I need any clarifying cards, but let's just flow with this. So your past self theme, who you've been this past year with the Knight of Cups and the Man holding a heart. I feel like you are returning back to your truest essence of love. I'm hearing that you have softened after maybe being hard for a while, like a hard exterior, or overly defensive, overly triggered. I feel like you're really softening and melting. And why am I hearing oozing? Ugh, I don't like that word. I feel like you're really just opening your heart and not allowing yourself to turn cold. There was actually, this is so ironic, I actually had an encounter with some Mormons the other day where they had me read out loud a Bible verse, and it was talking very much about this, about how like it was Jacob 6:5, and how like God is always reaching their hand out to us, and that he always has mercy for us, and that they're always waiting for us to return back to who we are, 3, 2, 1 on the timer, and to not turn our hearts cold. And so I feel like that's what you've really been doing. I feel like maybe before this past year, you were super detached or emotionally unavailable or emotionally avoidant. I feel like you really just had this stone wall all around you. But this year, I feel like you really have been tapping in and remembering who you were before the world got their hands on you, remembering who you were before people were rude, before you were hurt, before you had trauma, before you had tragic events happen, before you had to cope with all these things. And so that's really what I'm getting. I feel like you're letting yourself dream, maybe have a little bit more imagination. I feel like maybe you closed yourself off from creativity in the past, possibly. But this Knight of Cups, they usually don't look like this, but her face looks beat. Like, not beat in a good way. Like, literally beat. Like, bruised. I feel like you've been through a tough journey. I mean, look at the horse's head. The horse's head is down. It looks kind of sad, like disappointed. I feel like you have really been softening throughout like major disappointments, or really learning to find the love within the disappointments, if that were to make sense. Like with the Man holding a heart, I feel like you are starting to express your love and your emotions more freely compared to how you have in the past. Like specifically this past year, I feel like you've really opened up, and you've taken those small steps forward, even if it seems minimal to you, even if it seems like it's nothing. It is not nothing, because any progress deserves to be celebrated. I feel like maybe you've offered your heart a little bit more often, or maybe this could even just be like you flirting more often and letting yourself let loose a little bit more than usual. You've been really flowing in your emotions. Even throughout the intensity, I feel like you have tried your best to remain rooted in self-love and self-acceptance. Yeah, I feel like your heart is really blossoming. I do see like a butterfly, something similar to a butterfly here. It's giving opening up the heart chakra, cracking it open. You've probably cried a lot this past year, and you've released a lot of emotions, but honestly, it's lightening the load for you, and it is going to help you with opening yourself up to what is next for you, or what is possible for you, or what is waiting for you, quite frankly. The next thing we're looking at is the weight that you're shedding, what no longer aligns. We have the Seven of Swords and Death, learning that endings are merely beginnings. I feel like you're letting go of lies. Seven of Swords always gives me like lies energy, like sly, like the sly comments that people probably used to tell you, or you know, things that have just stuck with you for years. I feel like you're really going to be letting that go and realizing that people's projections are not your responsibility. I also feel like you are letting go of delusion. The energy that is significant with these endings and are merely beginnings are the sacral chakra and the root chakra, as well as the solar plexus. So I feel like you're becoming more rooted in yourself and what you know to be true, and knowing that no matter what ends or what begins, you're always going to be okay because you have yourself to cope with that. I feel like you're letting go of manipulations from the past, maybe people who had manipulated you. It's something from the past. South Node energy is very much about like past life patterns and past life karma, like things that you had to go through in your past life as well. And I feel like you're realizing those repetitive cycles that are happening within you right now and in front of you, and you're realizing what you need to do in order to end that. I mean, this card looks like they're about to execute him. Yeah. This is giving you are releasing people, places, things, and habits that no longer serve your highest good, but it's also like this sly energy here, like things that aren't obviously unhealthy for you, but ended up being unhealthy for you. I kind of want a tarot card to clarify this. Can you please clarify the Seven of Swords and Death? What weight is pile number 3 shedding with the Seven of Swords and Death? The Emperor. And that was actually at the bottom of the deck when I first started shuffling those cards. Yeah, you're taking control, realizing what sacrifices you do and don't need to make. I feel like in the past you might have like self-sabotaged, self-sacrificed, and did everything for everyone but yourself. And I feel like you're taking your power back and really taking control, and you're not going to die in that sword for these people. You're not going to give blood, sweat, and tears to people who can't even give you the time of day, right? So this is giving me taking your power back and realizing how certain thought forms and thought patterns have been holding you back from reaching your fullest potential. So like those thoughts that say, I'm not good enough, I'll never be able to do this, or I'm such a shitty person, blah, 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 blah. I've been there, so I get it, and no judgment. But sometimes that's delusion. Sometimes our thoughts are not, actually, our thoughts are never really facts. And so to take them at factual value and say, oh, this is the end all be all, is delusional, and it's sad and it's depressing. And so I feel like you're done accepting other people's fate for you or what other people think is possible for you. Like you're no longer making sacrifices for people who wouldn't even do a favor for you, is really what this is giving me. The next thing we're talking about is lessons learned, the wisdom you've gained with the Black Newman and grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. I feel like you have been disconnected from your old self for a while, but you've been in like a limbo period of like, you're not your old self, but you're also not fully your new self yet. And so it's a very uncomfortable place to be in, but I feel like you're realizing when it's time to just let things die. It's okay to let things die. You don't have to sit there and break your back and turn over backwards, forwards, in every direction just to make something work. You shouldn't have to force things. So I feel like you're done forcing things, and you're learning how to like release things without like having animosity or without having resentment, like just releasing things and then being like, you know, I appreciate the lesson. I know why this happened to me, but that does not mean that I need to sit here and continue to dwell about it, right? I feel like you're learning what has poisoned you, what has been holding you back, what has poisoned your mind. And you're going to be releasing that and realizing that none of this was you. Those thoughts were never you. It was the people who said those things to you, those negative sayings. I'm saying that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. I feel like now you value like moving on, moving into your newer chapter, and you're okay with letting it die, cutting people off, and not investing somewhere that is clearly not going anywhere, if that makes sense. This does have to do with the sacral chakra. So I do think that you are kind of grieving maybe old passions, things that used to light you up, or just grieving the fact that you hadn't felt like yourself for a very long time, and you're starting to feel like your old self, but your new self, if that makes sense. Like, you know, when we think about, oh, the good old days, it's like that feeling, that nostalgic feeling of, I remember that person that I was. You're going to start remembering who you are and who you are becoming. There is like a full moon on here, so I'm getting like a full circle moment, and not letting people drag you back into the cycles that you've already closed out. And I think you're learning that you can grieve people who are also alive. Like, people don't have to die in order for you to grieve them. You can grieve people who treated you wrong, or someone that you needed to part ways with just because that was the healthiest decision for you. And that's okay. Anything else from these cards right now? Also, with the Seven of Swords energy, he has a marking on his third eye. So I feel like you're getting clear about your vision. What is you and what is not you? Like, what are these thoughts? These thoughts are not me. This is somebody else. This is somebody else's voice. This is like depression talking, this is anxiety talking. It's like you're going to be able to differentiate things from what your true self is and who is talking to you in your internal dialogue, so to speak. And then the last energy we are going to be addressing is the emerging self. Who are you becoming in this chapter? With strength and the caring connections. Please tell me that these two cards don't look like they're representing the exact same energy. I feel like you're going to be taming the beast within, taming your ego, settling it down, saying it's safe, we're safe, there's no reason to allow fear to control our reality, it's okay. I feel like you're going to be nurturing yourself a lot more, and it's going to be very fruitful for you. There is an infinity sign above our head, and it looks kind of like a halo, so you're going to be unlocking your unlimited power, and you're going to be gaining strength either from God, your spirit team, the universe, or just from yourself, like your DNA, your lineage, your ancestry. I feel like you're going to be more at peace. You're going to realize, how strong and resilient you truly are, and how now you can go against any obstacle and you will come out victorious. With caring connections, I feel like you doing this healing work and really softening your heart and realizing that just because you had bad experiences in love or in relationships does not mean that everyone's out to get you. Does not mean that you need to have, this giant stone wall. Yes, you should have a fence for sure, maybe a gate, but it does not need to be a permanent stone wall around you where you don't open up at all, where you don't, express your passion or feelings at all. This could also be like you attracting some kind of lover. 1551 on the timer, which was a mirrored number. So you could be attracting like a mirror soul, someone who also has had a tough journey, who's also letting go of the past and is stepping into like a new era, a new chapter. I feel like you're going to be attracting a lot more energies like that because you're going to be more receptive. You're going to be more yourself. And when you're more yourself, that allows the people who are right for you to find you, because they can't find you when you're faking it. They can't find you when you have your walls up, when you're not vulnerable, when you don't talk about how you mother freaking feel, That's what this is giving me, is like you're going to be attracting a lot more loving experiences, and it's going to be restoring your faith in humanity. And this doesn't mean that it has to be romantic love. This could be friends. This could be, people who do favors for you. This could be someone ordering your coffee, in front of you very often, or people just wanting to help you out or gift to you randomly. I feel like you're going to feel more cared for than ever as you're learning to care for yourself more and opening yourself up to that love, and the fact that there are people out there that are going to love you unconditionally, even if you don't feel it, even if you've never experienced it before. I mean, there's like 7 billion people on this planet. There's definitely going to be people who want to be friends with you and want to share their life with you, so to speak. Let's see what the bottom of the deck energy is. Yeah, the Two of Wands. This was significant in pile number 2, so that could be a sign that you're meant to go there. But yeah, you're going to be making some tough decisions, and you're going to be choosing your path, and ultimately having a higher perspective of where you're going and what you want to do with yourself, So let's get into your closing messages. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading if it resonated. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. Thank you again for being here, pile number 3s. Let's get your closing message. What is the overall energy for pile number 3's new chapter? Okay. And I will be reading this out of the book. We have visions of life beyond death. I see an owl, a peacock, so something about wisdom, intuition. Peacock is about, why am I hearing, I want to see your peacock, cock, your peacock, cock. Okay, I need to write that down. And I also see, I don't know if that's a crow or if that's a raven. I'm guessing it's a raven. So this is giving like very much expressing yourself, very much like letting yourself be seen, and like opening up to the wisdom that is available for you. Let's get this song down. Okay. Let me get a sip of water, and then we will do your closing message. And then the bottom of the deck is every journey starts with a single step, which I was talking about, how you're taking small steps in the right direction, slowly but surely, like de-thawing your heart and opening up that trauma onion that you have and peeling back the layers. And as you peel it, you become softer and more pure at heart, coming from a pure place rather than triggered or defensive. Visions of life beyond death. Sacred vision is awakening within you. You are becoming blessed with the ability to truly see what is real rather than what appears to be. This is true insight. What was once considered consequential may soon be found to hold little consequence after all. What was once dismissed as an irritation or irrelevance may be seen to have great spiritual significance. As mundane as something once appeared, it could now be worthy of absolute attention. The gift of genuine vision takes you into the being of the universal creator. This is sacred terrain, beyond logic, convention, and that which is limited in any way. The more open you are to receive true vision, the more love you will feel and recognize within and around you. Something may appear to change form, to be shed, to be lost, or to die, but there is love within and always. This is what we've been talking about. This realization doesn't remove the pain of the loss. It does provide a way which it can be healed and eventually transformed into peace. The vision of love, the truth of all that is, can move us more than anything else possibly can. If you have been wondering about your life path or whether you should take action on a project or you need inspiration to really move out of a slump you have fallen into, then this oracle brings you a message of hope. You will receive your vision. You will be graced with a way out of the stagnancy. You will be able to see things differently and more accurately. Any confusion or uncertainty you have felt is going to pass, and you will be left with clear insight. The stories you have been feeding yourself, or telling yourself may end up looking different to how they appear now. This may surprise you, but the vision that is coming to you will be more truthful and therefore more freeing. It will be worth the shock, surprise, or the moment of embarrassment when you realize you have been operating under a false assurance or deluding yourself about the truth of a situation. We've been talking about this. Those moments will pass, and they are not something to feel bad about. They signify that you are leaving behind a smaller view for an expansive one. They are a sign that you've outgrown your old vision in order to live in a bigger one. This is good. There might be a moment when your ego feels a bit dented, but sure enough, that will too pass. This oracle comes with additional guidance for you. You are watched over by life and held in protection. Whatever has been bothering you will not be able to harm you. You will prevail. If you are concerned that someone is getting in the way with something or blocking your path, it seems there is nothing you can do about it. Don't worry. The all-seeing eye of life perceives everything without exception. It is the universal mother with eyes not only in the back of her head, but in every living cell of life itself. She misses nothing, and the truth of her vision will always be met with justice, mercy, and wisdom. This oracle is also asking you to shift your perspective and look at an issue of concern a little differently. If you don't know how to do this, simply add the following statement to the end of the healing process below. I call upon the universal eye to show me the most helpful way to see the situation of concern. Now, in shifting how you look at things, the energy in what is beheld changes. You see this with people. When you shame and judge someone, they react differently to when they are loved and encouraged. They may succeed nonetheless, but the journey to that success will be different. Looking at something through the eyes of love rather than fear can help us find our way more quickly, easily, and enjoyably. This oracle comes with an additional message that your ability to perceive is expanding into truth. Your ability to be inspired and see light in all things is unfolding. It must be nourished in your heart with loving acceptance, because you are going to help others with your vision, your art, and how you choose to be in the world. The healing process below will help you accept and anchor this developing gift. Here is the healing process. I now release any fear I have associated with seeing truth, with seeing beyond the veil of illusion, or with my inner vision opening up from my heart, mind, and body. I release any wounding I've received in relation to what I have witnessed at any time, especially where it is based in the fearful responses of others. I ask that my vision be restored to its fullness through compassion, unconditional love, so be it. And this is what I've been talking to you about with the Seven of Swords. Like, you're no longer going to sacrifice yourself for this. You're no longer going to allow this to control your reality. And with the Emperor, like, taking command and taking your power back and knowing that you can do something different, that doesn't have to be your story, that your lineage's story of, poverty or struggle does not have to be your story. And so I feel like you're really going to be realizing the stories that have been told to you and how those no longer align with your reality, and how you're going to open up to your own journey and do your own thing, whether people say you should or not. Like, with this journey, like taking these small steps forward, grabbing your bag and getting it done, no matter what people have to say about it, because it's your vision, it's your life, and it's time that you start living for yourself, pile number 3. So thank you again so much for being here. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and hype this reading up. If you're interested in booking a personal reading, following my socials, or donating to the channel, the link is down below, my loves. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time, my pile number 3s.